basically it's saying there's sufficient evidence to continue to prosecute you with felony charges. Now, as your lawyer, it's our job to advise you whether you should or should not testify before the grand jury. And our advice is you should not. Anything you say in the grand jury is taken down by a court reporter and then can be used against you later on as evidence if there is a trial. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So part of Mr. Dell's job today is to report to Mr. Levy whether you wish to testify or not testify before the grand jury.
Yeah, my understanding is that we're not able to present any evidence of what the complaining witnesses were doing.
Correct.
So then they're just using them. There's no benefit to us from that process.
Okay. And I don't disagree with you. So Mr. Dell, with your permission, is going to let Mr. Levy know that you don't wish to testify before the grand jury.
And let me ask you a few things about that. Okay. If I do testify in front of the grand jury and they ask me questions about, well, why did you do this? And I say, well, they're writing about me, they're doing this about me. Am I not allowed to introduce that evidence too?
You would say it in your statement to the grand jury, but there's no way to verify that information in the grand jury proceeding. Or the district attorney can cut you off and say that's not relevant to our discussion here today. We're here to talk about what you did with these people, the communications between you and these people, not what they may have done somewhere else at some other time. So it may not happen.
Even if I say, well, they were saying that they're doing this to me because they hate Muslims, they're writing about this on their websites, they're stalking me and all this, I'm not allowed to bring in any kind of evidence.
You could, and again, they can stop you and say that's not relevant. We're not going to let you talk about that at the grand jury. If you testify at trial, absolutely, you can testify to all those things. In the grand jury, the DA controls what happens, and your attorney just sits next to you and is mute. He's not allowed to say anything.
Exactly what we talked
Yeah.
about. Okay.
So then that sounds like an agreement that you don't wish to testify. So then the next thing that's a little more sensitive, the DA thinks you may have some mental health issues, and he talked to me about that, and is concerned that maybe you need to get some help. I mean, again, and this is the prosecutor saying this. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean we believe it. But
I think he has a mental disorder, so obviously we're in two different worlds.
I know. Just so you know, the DA was talking about maybe resolving the felony charge without any sort of jail, with the understanding maybe you have mental health.
There will never be a plea in this case. It's a straight up trial. That's it. There will be no mental health court. I'm asserting that they're the ones who have the mental disorder, not myself.
Are you going to be coming then, relocating to New York, so we're able to resolve the charges? Because trial is going to not be probably for another 6 to 8 months at best. Well, we could do lots of things. Because sometimes people who we represent come to an understanding with themselves and their families that this isn't worth it to me. This isn't worth it, regardless of whether you did something wrong or didn't do something wrong. Sometimes people are like, you know what? I'm cutting bait. I want to resolve it. And I'm not saying we're doing this today. We're not going to do it in the next court date. We're certainly probably not going to do anything in the court date after that. But you may come to a decision with your family that it's not worth this aggravation anymore to your state of mind and to your stress.
Like I said, there will never be a plea bargain. Okay. So they can just proceed however they want to do it.
Right.
The only thing I'm concerned about is defending, gathering all the evidence of what the provocations were, establishing the facts, and I have a confidence in the jury.
The issues you're going to have are all of these emails.
They've got a lot of stuff they put on the web about me. They're the ones who provoked me. These people are not scared of me. If they're out there selling books accusing me of being terrorist.
They're claiming they are. They're claiming in some part to the DA that this is a problem for them.
It's not a problem if they don't stop going online and talking bad about me and defamatory and breaking agreements and contacting foreign governments, accusing me of crimes in other countries and things like that.
The DA may say that didn't happen. I'm not sure. Did the DA say that happened?
The DA say what?
That these people are contacting foreign governments.
I've presented Mr. Dell with email. We just sent a subpoena to Verizon. It came back for Brian Albro. So they sent an email to Ambassador Gabriel, which was who is representative of the Moroccan government. You filed all that with the DA, right? You gave him everything. So,
I have not given this.
no, you need to give them everything. I told you that they need to know everything before they go in front of the grand jury. They need to know everything that we're alleging.
No.
Actually, that's not a great idea, because that's going to be your defense if there's a trial. And you don't want to tip your hand to your defense prior to having a trial.
What I don't want them to do is charge a felony when there's no felony.
That's
Okay.
fine. I presume you.
If they know about this evidence and they decide to upgrade to a felony, that's relevant.
They have decided.
Okay, well then, but they should know before they actually go to the grand jury. That should be in their hands.
I mean, this bothers me. They're talking about emails you sent, and I know you've seen this. I'm coming for you, terrorists. Come to my face, faggot, homosexual, pedophile.
They sent me an email 1 week prior to that threatening my mother. We traced it to Brian Albro. So, you know, if they have the right to threaten me, I'm going to threaten them back.
Well, see,
that's what it comes down to.
That's the problem. You're not allowed to.
They're not allowed to threaten me either. That's the point.
That's fine. Then you make a complaint with the police.
That's what I'm doing as soon as I leave here. I'm going to make a complaint, and if they don't arrest them, then that's a discriminatory procedure that they're engaging against me, because I didn't wake up on April 16th and just attack them for no reason. I got an April 7th email where they're threatening my mother. They're threatening to do I don't know what to me. They're threatening me with death. They're threatening me with jail for life.
So why are you calling them faggot, homosexual, pedophiles?
Because that's what I witnessed them doing in Morocco. They were caught with child pornography.
Okay. Do you understand that everything in Morocco may never be able to come into evidence at your trial?
If it's a felony case, then I would imagine that that's absolutely relevant, because...
But it may not come in. The judge may say, we can't substantiate this. It's from another country. Meaning there are rules of evidence at a trial. And a judge may say, not letting it in.
Oh, that's fine. We can just deal with what's happened.
It's not fine. That's the problem.
Well, no, because you know why? We made a settlement agreement in 2012 because of the fact that all these things were linked. We have a settlement agreement where Simpson was a party. Yes, he has a copy. Okay, he was a party to settlement. In fact,
he signed it. And what was
he didn't sign it. The Ambassador Gabriel signed it on behalf of everybody in the school.
And what was the settlement?
The settlement was to resolve his claims, the stuff that he was saying about me, which was defamatory.
And did you get fired from that job?
He's the one who fired me, and that's why I was paid the settlement. That's why I was.
They call it a severance package?
No, I was terminated, and I sued him for illegally terminating me, and I won 2 different judgments against him for that, and for defamation. The one in Morocco was for unlawful termination of my employment and criminal defamation.
So you won money and you have a judgment saying...
That's the first one in Morocco, yes. It's an Arabic language judgment from the Superior Court in Marrakesh. That's the first one. Second one is when I came back from Morocco, because he filed a false police complaint against me in Morocco, trapped me in the country for a year, unable to leave the country.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all going to be relevant. It's not like he's saying that I hate him because he's gay. I hate him because he's a criminal. Not because he's gay, because he's a criminal. And that's what he's been doing to me for years. Filing false complaints, running. Filing, running.
All right, then it's important because the D is going to look into your past. And so now we know about your prior...
some of those are just... so, for example, Mr. Simpson has been blogging about, the case and saying the DAs are coming to his rescue. I mean, the complainant in this case is a little bit off his rocker.
And I'm getting that. And would the authorities have you hospitalized, or would...
Well, I'd get into a fight with the feds. Like I told you, I was a witness to some of the terrorism stuff. So the way that they dealt with that was every time, I would get into a fight with the feds, they called the state police on me. State police would show up. They'd be like, what's the problem? And I said, well, this is what happened. I was locked up for Sheikh Rahman. They were running this sting operation. They were trying to trap me in a case, blah, blah. Feds will look at me like, okay. They'll call the state police will call the feds up. Feds will say he's lying.
Right.
He was never locked up for Sheikh Rahman.
Yeah.
He was never a witness to anything. He's crazy, just lock him up. And so they would do their bidding like that. But I have documentation and evidence and proof of it. So.
Of what? That you were actually incarcerated?
Absolutely. And that I actually met people relevant to the 9/11 side.
Okay.
You have to understand something. They don't exactly tell me where, they just grab and take.
Well, it's problematic because I'm going to tell you something. When you have a label, which you now do, of schizophrenia. There's no cure for schizophrenia, which means that someone who has this label or has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, it doesn't go away, and until there's a cure, persons with this illness are supposed to take medication.
Yes, but ma'am, what I'm saying
that's all.
I understand.
And that's what the DA is going to say.
Well, the DA can say whatever they want, but the DA can say whatever they want. The facts are that I was locked up with Shaker. So if you go and tell the hospital he's lying about that, he's crazy, and the hospital is going to take the word of the cops because they're going to believe the cops before they believe a stranger they've never met before, they're going to lock you up and call you schizophrenic.
So I guess
because what they committed was an illegal crime that resulted in the murder of over 3,000 people, that's why. And so that's not a very simple thing to just let go and say, hey, I'm a witness to something that's illegal, and just sweep it under the carpet for people and, let them get away with what they did.
Just so you know, I was here in the city at that time. It was really profound. And I had a client who did have information. And you know what happened to that client? He disappeared. Meaning the feds came and took him away, and we never saw him again. Yeah. So I think if the feds felt like you had information that would be helpful, I mean, I'm not disputing.
Was he a U.S. citizen?
I'm not sure.
Okay, if he wasn't a U.S. citizen, look, they took my friend right after 9/11 and framed him in a heroin case. They knew he was a witness. They eventually killed him. They sent him to Pakistan where he was murdered, and he's a direct witness to something.
But I guess where I'm going with this is sometimes people learn, right? So this has happened to you the first time you're hospitalized, but yet you keep calling, and then they keep having you hospitalized. Why didn't you just stop?
Well, because the way that they're doing their investigations concerning 9/11, it's actually a miracle that something worse doesn't happen and hasn't already. And if they continue upon the path that they're pursuing, it's a guarantee that we're going to have a huge problem, massive collapse, and much bigger problems than what happened on 9/11. So not everybody is put in a position where they have the ability to help and try to stop this kind of activity. It just so happens that I was placed in that position. I didn't ask to be a witness to these things. I didn't want to be locked up with terrorists. I didn't ask to be respected by these people and all that. It just happened the way it happened. And so I had to take the opportunity to try to prevent further loss of life. And I don't regret that because, yeah, we have to give him all that information. The DA has to have all that information.
You just listen to Tara. When David comes here, if you ask him, he will tell you the same exact thing. All right? They're not giving us special information. I'm not giving them special information. They've made a decision. All right?
Mr. Dell, you have to give them. It's already in their hands as we speak. Well, the only thing that's not happening is that we're not getting it on the record that they're illegally pursuing a felony prosecution.
No.
They've got everything through the Delaware courts. Everything is going to the Manhattan DA. Anyway, they know what Albro wrote. They know the trails leading back to the clients. They need to be aware of that before they go into the
We've talked about this before, and it really just boils down to the following, right? And, somebody logs off the internet, maybe I could go check. But look, this is a case, and this happens all the time in assaults, for example, where there's two individuals, and the DA's office is not sure who to charge. They've made their decision. They know what they're doing. But as far as giving them evidence in advance of trial or things that we might say or do, it's just absolutely off the question. It's fine. You know what, Eunice, that's fine if what you want to do is just take over. Say, look, I'm in charge. That's fine. But as your lawyer, I'm not going to start turning over documents to them.
You have to understand something, Dell, but you're not listening to me. As my lawyer, I'm telling you they already have. So at this point, we don't lose nothing. We're not giving them anything they don't know. Okay, well, we're just getting it on the record that they know what they're doing and they're still doing it.
I'm not highlighting or CCing any specific information. If you think they already know it, then they already know, right?
But they have to get it officially on the record before they. What I don't want them to do is say, we didn't know about this before we went to grand jury.
They're not going to do that. Look,
okay.
They know.
So let's get that out the way.
That's all I'm saying. They know that there are issues with their complainants. In fact, In fact, both DAs I've spoken to about this case have acknowledged as much. They know that there are a tremendous amount of issues. For whatever the reason is, this is what they've decided.
I'm leaving here anyway to file a police complaint. What do you think? They're not going to get it? I'm going to go right to a precinct and say exactly what it is. This is the emails I'm getting. We need to get this on the record here in the court.
That's your choice. But let me tell you something, okay? It doesn't.
They can only prosecute us both.
If
they want to prosecute me, fine. They have to prosecute them.
It doesn't.
Or else it's a violation of equal protection clause, and that's why I'm going after them in the court.
Well, that's a different matter, isn't it?
That's exactly the matter we're facing here.
No, and
the laws are the same for gay people and straight people.
They are.
I don't care.
They are.
I don't care.
But as Tara explained, or the easiest explanation I can make to give to you is, if they were to look at your email and then their email and say they were both inappropriate, at the bottom line, at the end of the day, somebody can still come to the conclusion that two wrongs don't make a right.
Not if they provoked me. Not if mine was retaliatory to theirs and mine wouldn't have come if not for theirs.
Eunice.
Okay, and if they're threatening my mother, there's no way I'm not going to
I've never done any kind of evidence or discovery done for the DA's office. It's just not something I'm going to do. I don't think it's smart practice. Tara would tell you the same thing. David would tell you the same thing.
Maybe it's not something you got to deal with in other cases, but on this case, they don't. It's not that they already know about it.
You're in charge of all different kinds of things as far as this case goes. You want to testify, for example, you want to be in the grand jury and give some sort of.
I want them to be aware of this
evidence
that we're getting before the.
Look, you either think that they have it or they don't. But the bottom line is, we're not turning over. For example, the compact disc we got from Amazon today.
No, we're not going to turn that over. But the very main crux of the case, which is that the reason I was going to meet with Desmond Egan is because I was that's what he told me. He said, "Oh, you're getting threats. Come on down. We'll investigate them. If you really are getting threats, we'll arrest them." That's the whole purpose of my trip. Hi, I'm sorry.
Dave Kapner.
That was the whole purpose of my trip to meet him. And then he told me, "Oh, we're not going to research your evidence. We're not going to investigate it." He needs to be aware that there were emails before that were provocative. There was stalking activity going on for years. They just need to be aware about it.
He knows there's a history between you.
But he needs to be aware of that specific email that I went to him when I met him, the USB key that they have. Those emails are on that USB key. They didn't trace them.
Okay.
I did. They just need to know who originated.
You just told Tara Collins, right, the senior attorney in our office, that there would never be a plea on this case, right? And David is my supervisor, okay? So he's one of two supervisors that I have. I think if I started giving to the district attorney's office, okay, any kind of, and look, I understand the theory that this is just, retaliating for something they sent. But if I started giving the DA's office material, I think I get womped on that. Okay? There's certain things that you surprise for people at cross-examination. Specific reason for that. You don't give it to somebody in advance. They can prepare their witness for some stupid bullshit answer, and then when they give that stupid bullshit answer, and then I try to clarify, and they start going, I don't know, or the DA has told them to say something, right? And they said, I don't know, maybe for the second time. The judge is going to turn to me and say, Mr. Dell, they said, I don't know, move on, okay? Get out of here. This subject is over, okay? Look, that's not up for debate. Okay? All right? That's not up for debate. There's certain things that you can do if you want.
But we spoke about this already. This particular kind of evidence is 100% exonerating, and it's not something that you can fabricate or prepare a witness to make up a new story about. It's impossible to dispute the technical evidence, Mr. Dell. What are they going to say? It's impossible. They would have to say that I committed a lot more felonies just to be able to send that email than the felonies they're charging me.
The proper way to do impeachment is at trial. It's not to tell the district attorney, okay, 8 months before trial that you intend to impeach the complaining witness with hard evidence.
What I'm saying is this.
That's not.
If we're moving now from a misdemeanor to a felony, they need to know about this before they charge the felony. That's about it. If they want to keep pushing felony after that, that's fine.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about an email that Eunice received, right, that was...
Several days prior to my response to it, and it's threatening me with death. It's intimating that they're stalking my mother. It was, now, what's interesting about that email is whoever sent it knew it was illegal, because what they did was they bought the services of a proxy company, which is an anonymity. Okay, so they paid for proxy to send the email anonymously to me to hide their trail. So I got lucky. Huh?
How do you know these guys said it?
Because now the proxy company gave me an IP address of a Verizon account. So somebody had to connect from a Verizon account to their proxy server to send the email. And that proxy company is not going to be able to randomly pick out of a hat out of the trillions of IP. Huh?
I have a Verizon.
Exactly. But if it leads back to Brian Albro directly, the probability of that is 1 in a trillion. So
what makes you think it's going to lead back to?
Because when I contacted Verizon, I already sent out a subpoena through Delaware to try to get it, and Verizon's saying, well, the account holder is trying to stop me from getting it even in Delaware. So they told Verizon that they're planning a motion to squash in Delaware, but they did the same thing prior and didn't quash, because they know that they have to have a reason to quash. They can't just go to court and say, no, don't release our information.
Right. Subpoena that?
We did. It's due 24th yesterday. It's supposed to be here in the court. So once that IP comes back, Brian Albro.
That's the other thing, right? So.
You know, also, my experience with IP addresses, like, I have like a Verizon 5. I never shut off my modem unless it needs to be reset. Yeah. So my IP address stays the same. Mm-hmm. But all you have to do is to screw up your IP address, shut up your modem, turn it back on.
But that's the point. What happens is the communication.
Also, I don't think they save them past 90 days yet.
Well, actually, they've saved them 2 years. One of them we already traced, which is almost 2 years. What happens is they assign you an IP for a date and time. When I get a communication on April 7th at a certain date and time, I'm going to Verizon. I'm saying, who had this IP at this date and time? And that's how I'm going to find out who the account holder is. Not just the IP. You have to give them the date and time. This is why there was one, remember the subpoena you sent out? He gave them a wrong date and time, so they gave us wrong information. So now we can send out a duplicate subpoena to recover that one. And once it comes back that it's Brian Albro, there's no case, at least for a felony prosecution. Now, if they want to keep going misdemeanor, that's fine, but they have no chance.
So go ahead and just squeak with it.
I mean, they can do whatever they want at the end, but
right, because if I threaten you with a gun, right, and you get pissed off, and the next day you come back and threaten me with a gun, you're still guilty of threatening me with a gun.
Well, you're still guilty of threatening me with a gun.
That's true, but that doesn't help you if you're the one being prosecuted.
I can't control criminals, like I told them. I consider what they're doing a criminal act, and I consider the DAs with all their wannabe, grandeur and all this. I consider them straight criminals on this case. But they tried it before.
But their opinion counts. Yours doesn't. Their opinion counts because they're the DA.
They think that they have a lot more power than they have, sir. Honestly, I'm not concerned about.
They're pretty clear about what kind of power they do have.
I'm not impressed with what they have, and I'm not concerned that they want to try a felony. What I'm concerned about is that they know I'm innocent before they walk in. That way, when they collapse, understand when these guys collapse, it's as bad as it always was, and they don't try to say, well, we didn't know this, and we didn't know that, we didn't find out about this. Verizon says you did. Verizon's lying? The whole internet conspired against you to frame you? Yeah? Okay, well, good luck with the jury. Well, let's see what the jury says. I don't think that the jury's going to say Verizon's lying and they're saying the truth. I don't think the jury's going to say that.
We have to first get that stuff from Verizon.
Well, I already got it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Let's be clear also that if you send out emails to retaliate against other people's emails, you're still guilty of sending out those emails.
Prosecutors both. I will
argue.
They're
not prosecuting both. They're prosecuting you.
I will argue that I was doing it in self-defense because they're threatening my mother. Well, that's fine. Then they need to prosecute us both. And if they don't want to, then they're being discriminatory. The point is, they're doing this because it's discriminatory against me because I don't endorse homosexuality. Period. That's the end of it. So let them die with that on their graves if that's what they want. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not.
Did you call the police when you first got the email?
No, I didn't, because you know why? We have a settlement agreement that prohibits me from filing a police complaint against him and prohibits him from filing a police complaint.
No, nothing prohibits anybody from filing.
It's in the, well, we made one and we actually went with it. Well, we did it already. I was following it up until he broke it. And the point is when he did file the police complaint, And I got the call from Detective Egan. I said, all right, great, then I want to file a complaint against him. He just sent me a week before this email, he just sent me one threatening my mom. And Detective Egan was like, yeah, okay, if you got threats, we'll arrest them. We'd love to arrest them. Come on down.
Detective?
Huh? Yeah, I went over there with the emails on the USB, and he's a witness. They saw the USB when I was there, and I was recording the arrest. They deleted all my recordings of the arrest and everything. Then they went and said that, they never got the USB, or that they never looked at the emails or something like that. And he's a witness to that. Of course, I did that. That's why I'm telling them, give it back to them. Because
you still have copies. You have copies of these emails.
Of course, I have everything. I have the headers and everything. That's why I'm tracing them. I got the IPs. That's how I'm following up with the trail. So that's why the very evidence which Detective Egan was supposed to look at to not arrest me with is what the DA is now claiming they don't even have and don't even know about. And he's saying we shouldn't give it, we should save it. I'm like,
we can't trace those IP addresses. They're just going to say you sent those to yourself.
Well, I already traced one of them, and it came out Albro. The one that was sent through my litigation in Delaware. We've been in litigation since 2010. I sent a subpoena out from the U.S. District Court in Delaware to Verizon for the email that was sent to Ambassador Gabriel. IP address right there, and amazingly, they still have the records coming up on 2 years. I got lucky because they don't really hold them longer than 2 years, and most people do it it could be 6 months to a year and a half. They don't really keep those records forever. But I got lucky. So that IP, I wouldn't know just from the IP address it's going to trace to Albro. It's a 1 in a million.
Are you working right now in Florida?
We just got a lot of information today from Amazon. It's got to be 80,000 pages.
Amazon.
Yeah. It's all on disk. It's on PDF. There's got to be more than 10 of them. And then there's others with IP address. So that just came in from Amazon today.
What stuff on Amazon?
Well, I mean, they.
Well, that was the stuff that we were putting up on the web that I sued them on. This is all because they're mad because I sued them because they were defaming me. They broke the last settlement agreement.
What's it with Amazon?
Because they went online, but they wrote novels about me and started selling them on Amazon.
What?
So that's one of the platforms they use. And then when I sued them that this is why they're doing all this, they're like, well, no, we should have the right to defend you, and you should just accept it.
What's going on with that litigation?
It's still ongoing in Delaware. It's still going on right now as we speak.
Has there been depositions in that?
There hasn't been. No, the judge hasn't even let it. They got the judge in their pocket over there too. The previous judge they had. I mean, basically, what I'm learning now is that you really, if you end up in a conflict with somebody who's homosexual, don't ever go to a pro-gay marriage state and sue. The judiciary is not going to be fair.
If we've written one now, I got news for you.
Well, you know what? This is a process that they started. So in that respect, there's nothing I can do about it.
Have you seen copies of these books?
Yeah.
Are they about him?
There's a few that have passages. I mean,
refer to him by name?
Yeah.
He changed my name by letters. He spelled Eunice instead of Y-O-U-N-E-S. He spelled it E-U-N-I-C-E.
What does it say about you?
I mean,
saying like the same stuff as always. I'm hacking him.
Well, that's the general allegation. They think, right? And that's my fear.
He's accusing me of terrorism. He's accusing me of a whole bunch.
We're getting a whole bunch of IP addresses. It's their, it's their version of events.
Yeah, they're going to say, well, no, he's hacking us.
Right.
That's why we're writing this book.
Right. Although,
now that the IPs are coming back, where's it happening? If I'm infiltrating their accounts, it's my IP supposed to be showing up. You know what I'm saying?
What's homosexuals? What's with that? What's wrong with that?
What do you mean?
It's like the third time I've been sitting here. You've made reference to states.
I absolutely believe that there is a conspiracy afoot. I absolutely believe it.
Against you, like global homosexuals?
Well, because I'm very impressed at Simpson's ability to influence the judiciary. I really thought I had him in Delaware. I had a rock solid case. I mean, the defamation was flagrant. He's got a contract in Delaware. It's as solid a case as you can get. For a defamation case, you never get one this solid.
Based on what? It's the solidest case you can get.
Because we had a settlement there, and he broke it. The settlement was specifically to resolve the defamation. Okay? It prohibited this from happening again. The libel is not like he's an idiot. I sent him a copy of the contract.
I have copies of the contract, but I think it's a loser. Right? I mean, you can't make an agreement with somebody else, never file
And then what goes on in the future.
Never file a criminal.
Well, no, the reason why we did that is because he has a history of doing this.
But it's not lawfully binding. No one would consider
you know what he did in Morocco? He went and told the Moroccan government that the American government had caught me hacking the U.S. Embassy in Rabat. They sent a letter directly to the king. And the Moroccan government was like, how? It can't be a lie because we're getting these letters from ambassadors. These guys are putting their names on the line for this. This cannot be a lie. And guess what? It was a lie. And not only that, the State Department had to backtrack and give me a letter stating, oh, we don't know where they got these allegations from. We have no evidence that he hacked the U.S. Embassy. And they kept me locked in Morocco, unable to leave for almost a year, just on that allegation alone. Okay, so they've been...
that provides you with motive, though. You're the one with motive. You're pissed off at them.
Not if I'm going to court. Why would I want to hurt them? If I'm going to court and I know I can beat them in the courts, there's no reason to contact them directly and threaten them and all that.
What's their obsession with you?
Because I'm not a pro-homosexual, and so they've decided they want to discriminate against me. And so if you want me to explain to you their logic, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. Because I'm not in their minds to understand their dysfunction and why they won't leave me alone. We settled the first time, they wouldn't stop. The second time, they wouldn't stop. The third time, they wouldn't stop. They filed the first case.
They were all in Marrakesh, this American school of Tangier. And I've actually spoken to the U.S. ambassador to Morocco's attorney. The truth is, as I've told you, I've told David this is that, they blog about this stuff, lauding the DA's office, saying that they're coming to the rescue, which I'm not really sure is appropriate. It's
not appropriate, but they're not the ones in charge of the felony.
Right. Well, Laura Nathan said something.
Laura Nathan's an idiot. What did he say?
He was wondering if this had to do if Cyrus Vance and look, I don't know, I could see this, but if he had any children who went to Trinity, or if he himself went to Trinity, and he was asking whether or not they really ought to appoint a special prosecutor in this case.
You think Cyrus Vance gives a shit about this case?
I think that they've been given special directive from the hate crimes unit.
Yeah, you think Cyrus Vance gives a shit about this case?
I don't have any reason to believe that.
Let me know if you figure out a reason to believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cyrus Vance never heard of this fucking case.
I'm pretty sure he knows everything about this case.
Why do you say that?
Because of the people involved. And if they open up that door with the felony stuff, we're going, there's a lot of stuff that's going to come in. The whole false case they filed against me in Morocco is coming in. Everything the ambassadors did in Morocco.
Well, the evidence that the judge thinks is relevant.
Well,
right, not the evidence.
It is relevant to a hate crime. If they're saying that I'm doing this against him because he's gay, wow, that's the biggest joke in the history of mankind. What this guy did to me alone in Morocco would warrant me to murder him on the spot. Even if he was a heterosexual, I would have fucking wring his neck for what he did.
What did he do to you?
But what he did in Morocco, nobody ever did in the history of Morocco. Even the royal family was like, this is unbelievable. They've never seen anybody like this guy.
The royal family said that to you?
Yes. The prince told me directly. Because this guy came to Morocco, did a tornado, destroyed the school in less than like a few months, and took off running before he could get caught up.
Someone from the royal family?
He had, first of all, he had child pornography on his computers, on his USB key. He had all kinds of shit going on. He brought in his boyfriend who had HIV. They were going around chasing prostitutes in Morocco, not telling anybody that they were infected. The guys were out of control. They thought it was like the Wild Wild West. We got the royals in our pocket.
How do you know that?
I'm the witness. I'm the one who caught them.
They tell you, they said, oh, I'm going to go, I have HIV, I'm going to go and check.
We didn't even know they had HIV. The USB key that Simpson lost in the school, we found out after the fact, after Albro already got back to America, that he had HIV.
What did you do at the school?
I was the head of technology for the school. I was the head of the whole IT for the school. And so he did a lot of
language over there? Speak Arabic?
I just speak the Moroccan dialect of the Arabic. I don't speak the proper Arabic, so to speak. It's a slang dialect.
Is that much different? Moroccan
yes,
Arabic?
it's very different.
The written language
I can't understand anybody but the Moroccan.
Well, the written language is the same.
I don't read or write, so I don't read or write Arabic. But yeah, he did it, and he convinced 3 U.S. ambassadors to write a letter to the King of Morocco accusing me of hacking. That's not an easy thing to do, and they didn't.
How do you know that?
Because the letter was written, and I have a copy of it.
You have a copy of that letter?
It's in the files. It's in all the Delaware documents. They send it directly to the king through the Moroccan ambassador to the U.S. And they're basically accusing me of hacking the U.S. embassy.
Can I get a copy of that letter?
Oh, it was signed by Gabriel, Frank Wisner, all of them, 3 U.S. ambassadors: Donald Eason, Ed Gabriel, Frank Wisner. And that's the reason I got stuck in Morocco, because that's why they put the travel ban. The Moroccans really believe that the Americans had an open, secret indictment against me, and they were
Give us a copy of that letter.
I've given to him. He has it. I've sent him so much stuff. He's got everything. There's thousands of pages already in the Delaware courts. Look, that's why they paid me.
Is there an index number in Delaware? Is it like a index number or docket number?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could give you all the docket references and everything. It's all there. And the prosecutors have it, which is crazy. That's what I'm saying. So if they're saying this is a hate crime, it could not be. I hate him. Yeah, not because he's gay. Because the guy did the craziest stuff in the world and took off. After they did that to me, he ran away. He filed false complaint against me in Morocco, had me going to the prosecutor every 2-3 months. It was a big investigation because of what he did. It took me a year to get cleared before I could finally leave the country again. And that was just the beginning of what he did. Then I came back here and sued, and when I sued them over here, they went and started arresting my family in Morocco, like to hold them hostage because of the lawsuit. The Moroccan front.
Is he in jail in Morocco right now?
No, he got out afterwards. After I made the settlement with the school, then they let him out because the king was involved. All these people are friends with the king.
Testify in your behalf?
My cousin, yeah, I'm gonna bring him in. If we're going to felony court, definitely he's coming in. I'm gonna bring in a.
Can you give Ben his name and phone number?
Yeah, I can give him his number.
Today, give us his name and phone number so thanks to interview so we can
I can definitely do that. That's not a problem. He's gonna come in and testify about everything that happened. It's still a sensitive situation. My family's being held hostage there. This is what they're trying to manipulate. They're trying to manipulate the fact that if I speak about what the Moroccan government did, which was wrong too, that it's the way I would defend myself, but then it would cause harm to my family over there, because if this would have come out that the Moroccan government was defending these guys and covering for them, it's even worse for the king than it would be here. I mean, over here, it's like now everybody does whatever. Sex is sex. It's all out in your face. Over there, that stuff could still get people in big trouble. Even the king could get problems. Because if he's friends with pedophiles and it's a known thing, that they don't like that.
What does Tara say?
Well, if you're not going to give them this information I'm telling you to give them, then I need to go to the grand jury and make sure they know what's going on. So you need to make a decision. If you hand this information over to them, fine. Then I don't need to go to the grand jury.
What was on your USB?
Yes, I'm talking about the threats I was receiving, the emails we've already traced. They need to know about that.
Okay, but right, we need to have that, there's certain things that we need to have verified, and there's also certain things, right, that I'm not prepared to give them.
So then you can, then I'll have to testify grand jury. Then you're making the decision for me to testify, because I will need to go.
I'm not making a decision to testify. Remember, Tara explained to you that they can and they will, right, at any point in time, cut you off and say it's not relevant as to what's being immediately charged here. And I know.
They can cut me off. It's still the jury's still gonna hear it. They're gonna ask me, did you send this email? I'm gonna say, yeah, they sent me an email a week prior, and this is what they were threatening me. They're gonna kill my mom and do this and this and that to me. Whatever. That's what happened. You know about it? Did you not get it? Is it not right here?
You don't get to present evidence, right? At the grand jury. That's just not the way that it works. All right. I know it's a frustrating.
I'm still gonna give that test. They need to know before the case gets indicted as a felony that this evidence exists. As long as they're aware it exists, because the DA is trying to play a game right now, they already know it exists. So we have nothing to lose by just making sure that they know what they're doing as they move forward. Because like I said, we can't control criminals. They're going to do whatever they want to do because they are kicking the political football right now. And they're being criminals. And I'm going to make sure that they're exposed for being criminals. That's the only thing I can do in response to what they're doing to me. And I'm going to make sure to do that. That's all.
Look, this happens all the time, for example, and I was saying to you before where, there'll be a fight between two individuals, and the prosecutor's office picks one side and they prosecute one side.
It doesn't matter. We're talking hate crime now.
Two people threw punches.
Listen.
I understand that.
I know, if it's a misdemeanor, already it's a fake case. By itself, as a misdemeanor alone, it's a fake case.
Eunice. Let me tell you something. Eunice. Look, the statute, right, for this misdemeanor, okay, and I agree. They may have a hard time proving that this is solely motivated by hate. Look, I may agree with you on that. But as far as the misdemeanor, right, it's not a matter of doing this versus doing that, right? It's a matter of one of them getting up, saying that I received this message, and I received it through an electronic medium. That's the first prong for aggravated harassment. The second prong for aggravated harassment.
It caused me fear and alarm and all that. That would never stand. That prong can't stand because if you have a fear of somebody, you don't go threatening them. And then when they respond to you, your defense of yourself is scaring me. No, it doesn't really. Yeah, you can charge it, and they can try to swing it that way. My only option.
If he testifies that caused him fear and alarm and annoyance, okay, that meets the elements specifically
like
for aggravated.
I can be convicted and still get a judgment against the NYPD because they didn't arrest them, and that's discriminatory. It is true. That's equal protection. It's a violation of equal protection. The law is not one for gay people and one for regular people. When a gay person does something that's illegal, because that email I received caused me annoyance, alarm, I received it through an electronic medium, all the elements of the crime are satisfied for me as well. And if they're saying, well, for gay people it's okay, but for straight people it's not, well then that's where equal protection comes in.
You got that email, did you call the police?
Only because I told you I was banned by the settlement agreement. And when he called the police first, that's when I said, you know what? Yes, Mr. Egan, I want to press charges against him too. I'm coming down there to do that. Oh yeah, you got threats from them? Yes, Mr. Egan, I got them. Oh, so bring them. If you got them, we'll charge them. I would love to arrest them. I show up there, all of a sudden, nobody knows nothing. What threats? What threats? You gave us a USB? We don't even know about that. Oh, we never seen that. We never heard of that. No, I mean, that's bullshit. They're being discriminatory, and that's going to come out, and even if I get convicted, it's still discriminatory. Because they're not charging them and convicting them too. So that's basically it. Two different laws. Laws for gay people, laws for straight people. That's what's going on right here. Period. I mean, that's the way it is. Honestly, there's no other way anybody else is going to see this in the real world. Okay? Because that's what it is.
What people may or may not see in the real world, right? I mean, we don't know, right? Ever again in my entire life, a civil suit. Somebody ever does anything wrong to me, I am not going to do it in a state that's pro-gay marriage. Didn't you just say that? Right? So what is reasonable and what is not
that's
reasonable
where actually
is sometimes subjective. That's why,
But I have to establish that. I still haven't established that. Even in Delaware, the case is still going on. When they shut it down in Delaware and I get a conviction in New York, then everybody knows what the rules are. Stay away from pro-gay states if you're not supportive of that agenda, because you won't get a fair shake in the courts. The system is stacked against you, and it's a criminal dispute. Huh?
Delaware?
Oh, well, you know what?
Delaware's like a redneck state.
Well, you know, they're rednecks that love gays. That's all I can say. And I don't care. You can love gays all you want, but the laws apply to me too. I have life too. If I'm being defamed, I should be able to sue civilly and not have a problem like what they did in Delaware. And they look really, really stupid now because all the traces finally came in, and everything I said in my Delaware suit has been validated already. So they even look bad themselves. If this is where we're heading, where really this is what the gay movement's all about, control and abuse of non-gay people, that's what it is. I can't control that. I'm not a person who can run the world. I'm just a one person. I'm a human being. I don't have no power to move the heavens and earth. If this is where we're going, that's what people need to know. Get ready. This is what the gay movement's about. It's not about equal rights. It's about taking away your rights.
You have a college degree?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
Queens College.
What's that?
Queens College.
Queens, up here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sad. I feel bad that this is happening, but there's nothing I can do about it. Just make sure they know what they're doing and that they're doing it with full knowledge of their actions. That's all I'm asking you. So, you know, as long as you're going to give them that evidence I gave it to you, it's in that last PDF I gave you.
Look, in fact, I even told you, right? One of them reached out to me. He said he, was available all morning. It's not something he's going to look at today. They're going to announce their intention to indict today. Look, Eunice, if you think you'd be better served with somebody else who wants to hand over every single piece of material, that's fine. But
you have to give it to them before they announce their intention, or else I got to go to the grand jury. This is what I'm trying to say. They need to know what they're doing.
What do you
There's
think
nothing
you're
I can
going to be able
do.
to say in the grand jury? What do you think you're going to be able to say and or prove?
I want the prosecutor to know before he files his application for the grand jury.
He's going to be
There's
able.
no application, it's just done.
He's going to be able to run circles around you in there. It's his. It's like his home court. All right. I don't know. Are you a sports guy at all, Eunice? At all, Eunice?
Not anymore.
Was there ever a time in your life when you enjoyed watching any sport? What sport did you like?
Baseball.
You like baseball. Okay. Were you a Mets fan?
Mets.
You were a Mets fan. All right. So imagine, right? Imagine.
He's Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
And you got no hands.
That's
you guys worry too much. You know, honestly, listen. Let me tell you something. A conviction listen. Are there innocent people in jail?
Yeah, but you be one of them.
Yeah. Why?
Hey, listen. We can't control a bad, fucked up, broken system.
No,
we can.
You don't want to
We
be
can stop and let them go fuck someone else up.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I'll tell you right now.
You don't want to be
this
one
is
of
a
them. You're saying
listen.
that, Eunice, and you said that before, but you don't want to be one of them.
That always sounds like a good idea, making a stand before you.
Yeah.
When you're the one in jail, those doors slam shut. It doesn't seem like such a good idea
They
anymore.
cannot dispute the technical evidence. They can't dispute the technical evidence.
Okay.
Give it to them.
But Eunice,
Give it to them.
You know where my position is.
They can't dispute
You know where my position is. I'm not giving them evidence, okay, before the start of trial in the same way that they wouldn't give it to me. Okay? And you know, that part of the grand jury is pretty clearly explained. You know, we
Give it to them anyway. Just give it to them. I'm asking you a
Eunice, I told
specific.
you not. I told you no.
They already have it.
Grand jury? I thought we resolved this. What happened? I thought you agreed not to testify.
No, but this is what's happening. I wanted Mr. Dell to give the prosecutors the evidence of the threats that I received.
Not prior to trial. It's not
Well,
happening. You don't tip your hand to
you don't play
defense
poker
ahead
so
of time.
You know what? But you guys think like I'm trying to win the game here. I'm not trying to win the game here.
We're
This is a
trying to win
procedure. No, it's not. The truth is not a loss. There's no loss in the truth. What are they gonna do? Bring in the.
Hold on. Let's do a timeout here. Forget about who's right and who's wrong, okay? And forget about what's the truth and what's absolutely made up, okay? There is a criminal prosecution. It's not a game, okay? They've chosen a side, rightly or wrongly, fairly or unfairly, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're going to help them out. And we're not going to start helping them out on the day that they want to announce to the court their intention to present this as
We are not helping them out.
Okay.
They're going to trial with.
Eunice, this is going to be a circular thing. That's going to be a circular thing.
How about this? When I left.
This is what the argument is about. I just want him to give them the evidence of the threats.
And we will. It's just not today. It's just not prior to the grand jury. We will do that.
Well,
it's just not today.
This is what I'm trying to say. They need to know before they make that application to upgrade it to a felony that they're doing it knowingly, with evidence clearly indicating that there's no hate element to the crime. Huh? Because, well, here's the deal. I'm suing them anyway, and it's going to be relevant later. And if they do this, if they go through this to the end, and even prior to the grand jury, they indicted felony knowing this evidence existed, it's relevant to a civil case which I'm filing against them. I want to preserve that.
In a million years, I would not turn over anything to them before trial. I haven't done it on any other case that I've ever had. It's not even a consideration.
Yeah, but you're telling me that they're going to file for felony today, and they didn't get this information prior to doing that.
Right.
They may or may not
Okay.
have certain information.
I don't think they're going forward today. The DA agreed to wait until after today to proceed to the grand jury.
But they have to file an application. Like I said,
No, they don't have to file any application. They can do it anytime they want.
They just have to
without
present
notice. The good news is the DA is telling us that this is on his radar. Maybe the DA never does it. Right? Maybe the DA never goes forward, and then you're lucky and you're only facing a misdemeanor charge.
I don't have any faith in what they're doing. Even the misdemeanor to me is a tragedy.